Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Retrolade here, back again with another video in quick succession. This time I'm going to do something I've never ever done before, which is I'm doing a review of a movie. A movie stroke documentary. Now, just recently there's been absolutely tons of retro gaming related movies and documentaries coming out. We've had Bedrooms to Billions, of course. We've had One Up. We've had Video Games the Movie. And a new one has just been released called World 1-1. And this one is very much focused on the early days of Atari and video gaming in general. And it fits kind of nicely with another movie, which was Game Over, the Microsoft Xbox one, which was all about the legend of E.T. and the burial in New Mexico, etc., etc. You know, that really, the great thing about Game Over was it was a kind of fitting epitaph for E.T. as a game, and kind of gave Howard Scott Warshaw the chance to finally sort of say his piece regarding the game and quash some of the nonsense that's been talked about it. And World 1-1 is kind of expands on that whole era that led up to that video game crash that caused the burial of the ETs. And it's over 2 hours long, and features, God, it's like a who's who basically of that era in terms of Atari. I mean, you can see it. I've got it on the laptop behind me there. But you've got in it, there's Owen Rubin in it. There's Nolan Bushnell, of course, is in it. There is Howard Scott Warshaw is in it. There's just all these people who were there at Atari in the early days. Joe DeCoeur, he's in it as well. He's another name worth mentioning as one of the designers of the Atari 2600. All these guys are in it. David Crane, that's another name, just popped into my head. Gary Kitchen, who did the Atari 2600 version of Donkey Kong, among other things. And there's not just Atari, there's a bit about Magic in there. There's a load of stuff about how Activision came about, how they were set up, what the impressions of their early impressions of what they did was, and it's just so in depth in those years. It doesn't really miss anything out, and I was just blown away by it, to be honest, which is why I felt like I had to do a review. I mean, not only is it really in depth, because it's with the people who were there at the time, it's very factually and historically correct. There's some stuff in there that I hadn't heard before, I hadn't knew before, which in these days is quite hard to find, especially when you work in a field like myself where you are writing about retro video games all the time, you're reading about them all the time, you're doing lots of research. So it's pretty amazing to hear stuff that I hadn't heard before. And there's some very honest remarks in there as well, people admitting mistakes and criticising other people and saying just what went wrong, Atari and things like that. And there's loads of archive footage in there from back then. There's adverts and there's photos and all sorts of amazing things that really show what it was like back then. And it just, it almost brought a tear to my eye, because it kind of just sums up that whole era just so nicely and tells the stories of those people, and it really made you just want to be there. It was such an exciting time, and I just sort of wanted to jump into the screen and go back to that time and be with them. It's just amazing. I mean, it would be a dream of mine, to be able to sort of do that, to go back in time and work for Atari in that era, because it just must have been unbelievable. I mean, to work in the video game industry was always a dream of mine. I mean, I'm a writer now, and I really enjoy that. So it's kind of nice that I have kind of made it in one aspect. But to have worked at Atari in those days just must have been incredible. Really must have been. And then it does mention other companies. There's a little bit in there about Philips and the Magnavox sorry, and the Odyssey console, the original Odyssey and the Odyssey 2. There's a little bit in there about the ColecoVision in television. There's stuff about Apple in there. There's a lot of stuff about Jobs and Wozniak and their role at Atari and then going on to form Apple. There's loads of stuff about arcade games in there. You know, I just don't really know how I can sort of, I don't know, explain just how great this movie is in a short video like this without literally telling you the whole thing, which obviously I don't want to do because I want you to sit down and watch it yourself. But you know, the content is just unbelievable, and the interviews are fantastic. The imagery is fantastic. It's really well made in terms of the content and how it progresses through. I mean, I've got one very, very slight criticism, and which I need to do say. You know, it's quite a minor thing, but it is something that annoyed me slightly. So if the people who made this movie do watch my review, please don't do it again. Which is, when it's filming people, it will tend to jump the shot. Like 1 minute it's zoomed in, and then it will jump to zoomed out. Just all of a sudden, well, it will do the reverse. It's out, and then it will jump to zoomed in. You might have even seen it happen on the screen behind me, partially. But you know, it's kind of annoying, and I'm not sure why they chose to do it, because it almost seems like it's skipping. And the first time I was actually originally watching it on the website, and I did actually think it was skipping. And I when I got my download, I checked on the download that it wasn't, you know, that it was the same, and it was exactly the same. And I mean, onto the download, that's a really good thing, that you can buy the film or you can rent it. Now, I chose to buy it, and I'm glad I did because it's fantastic. To rent it, it's $3.99. This is $3.99. To buy it, it's $9.99. But buy it, you can download it in 1080p, which is fantastic. So then it's yours forever. So at that price, I mean, in pounds, that's £6. I mean, that's nothing for something like this. I mean, you know, you'd pay a lot more than that for most other movies if you bought them online. I mean, it's fantastic value for money what you're paying for there. But, you know, if you are a fan of Atari, especially, or just a fan of early retro video games, then this movie is just simply unmissable. It's obviously doesn't include any of the British scene, home computers and that, because it's from an American perspective, but it's not biased in any way. It doesn't, like many of these things tend to be, where they just talk about, you know, the video game crash like it happened everywhere, and, you know, talk about Nintendo saving the world. It hasn't got any of that. It's really focused on those early years, and, you know, it's just a fantastic film. I mean, I was utterly glued to it, and I'll probably sit and watch it again, you know, to see if there was anything I missed. But highly recommended. You must go and download this. So if you're a fan of Atari, fan of retro gaming, to say, go and download this movie now. I'm going to stick the link for it below, so you can go and check it out. Also, just want to give a quick shout out to a couple of people who were involved in the movie, who might be watching this, friends of mine and stuff. So Daryl, who runs the Atari Gamers Unite Facebook page, which I'll also link. I think it's in my intro anyway. He did the brilliant artwork which features Nolan Bushnell and Ralph Baer. I should actually mention, I forgot about Ralph Baer. There's an absolutely wonderful tribute to Ralph Baer in this movie. Obviously just passed away, and you know, he was the man who really started off what we call the video game industry. It was Nolan Bushnell who made it mainstream, but Ralph Baer was the grandfather and Nolan Bushnell was the father, is the way I like to see it. There's a wonderful tribute to him, and the movie has been dedicated to Ralph Baer as well, which I thought was a wonderful touch. And I assume they probably delayed it slightly, you know, to get that in. But as I say, I'm going to stick a link in there so you can download it. I recommend you'll do so. So shout out to Daryl for the brilliant artwork, which I showed on the intro of this movie. Also shout out to Patrick Scott Patterson, who is in this film. I'll speak to him on Facebook now and again. He's done, you know, he's put some wonderful personal backstories into this movie, which I really liked as well. So it wasn't just, you know, the big names who made the games. You've also got sort of that kind of fan perspective in there as well, which I thought was really, really nice to see, because you kind of got both sides of the coin. But that's it anyway. That's my review of World War One. It's you know, if I was going to give it a rating out of 10, it'd be a 10, despite that one minor flaw. it's the content that matters, and this movie has it in abundance. Out of the films that have just come out recently, The Bedrooms to Billions, and I'd say One Up, and Atari Game Over, and all these, this is the best one. There's no doubting that this is the best one. So yeah, go and get the movie now. Go and download it now. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as me. Please support the people who made this. I'd love to see, you know, another one going to the next stage, and showing how we came out of how the Americans came out of the video game crash. It'd even be nice to see something looking at the scene in Europe, something similar to this, which would be great as well. You know, with a similar kind of vibe to this film with all the old adverts and stuff. Bedrooms to Billions kind of does that, but Bedrooms to Billions really does focus very much on home computers, you know, Spectrum especially, and I think see something with the early days of consoles and stuff like that would be good as well. But anyway, regardless, I'm wittering on again. Go download the movie. Hope you enjoyed this. Please leave some comments. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Let me know what videos you'd like to see from me. I'm trying to get a lot done at the moment, so I went a bit slow for a while. I've got a bit of free time on my hands, so if there's anything specific you want to see, I've got some more great stuff coming soon, including a review of the Neo Geo X, so watch out for that. I've been the Retro Lad. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.